She wanna vibe with me. I told her, little baby, just go ahead and sit down. Ay, she wanna ride with me. I told her, little baby, you just for the click now. Ay, rockstar status my motive. Look how I came in.
All right. Well, since we're on the Bills, the next topic is who is the best team in the NFL right now, and that's a very easy transition for me because I was just talking about them in the last segment, which is the Buffalo Bills. When you look at them and their last few games since week one, take out week one, they are averaging 39 points a game and are winning each game by an average of 29 points per game. The defense has held two of the last four opponents scoreless. And just to give you, and the Bills defense, I mean, that's a crazy stat right there, 2 out of 14 scoreless. And just to give you even more context on how the Bills have the best defense in the league right now, they are allowing the lowest passer rating of 60.7, the fewest yards per play at 4.3, which is a stat that Vegas really likes, by the way. That's how Vegas does a lot of their lines by yards per play. Obviously, points per game at 12.8 over the whole season. And they have the fifth highest pressure rate at 25%. That's just from the defensive end. That's not even where their bread and butter is. If you look at the Bills, they are run through Josh Allen. Josh Allen is tied for fourth in the NFL in touchdowns with 12 TDs and only 2 picks on the season. Add that with Josh Allen as an elite quarterback right now with Stephon Diggs as your lead wide receiver and this tight end named Knox, who has been really proving to be an asset this season, combined with the production that surprisingly, honestly, to a lot of people that Singletary and Moss are giving out of the backfield, the Buffalo Bills have proven that they are the best team in the league right now and that any team that plays them will be the underdog and the Bills will be the favorite from here on out.
Keon, you're a funny guy, my guy.
What I do, big dog?
Do you want to name the 2 teams they held scoreless real quick? Yeah, I'll name it for you. It was your Houston Texans without Tyrod Taylor, and the Miami Dolphins where Tua got injured, only passed the ball 4 times.
What did the Texans do to the Patriots last week?
They lost.
How many points did they put up? The big bad Patriots, Bill Belichick's defense.
The Patriots are built
big 22
bad.
points on the Patriots. They put up 22 points.
Hey, do you want to let me talk, please? I think it's my turn to talk.
I got to defend the Texans, but go ahead.
Patriots are 1-3 going to that game, 2-3 now. Yeah. They're not too good, big dog. But yeah, I mean, I really just looking at these teams. They played the Steelers, they lost to them. Played the Dolphins, pretty bad team. They beat them. They beat the Washington football team by law, pretty bad team. The Texans, very very bad team. And they have one good win. They beat the Chiefs. I'll give them that, which is a very, very impressive win, especially away. Looking at that schedule, looking at all those results, none of those results give me confidence that the Bills are the best team in the NFL. I think that's just – I think you're just crazy saying that, honestly. You have nothing to support that. I mean, they have a tight end who came from nowhere. He's killing in fantasy. He's scoring touchdowns. He's doing wild stuff. Sanders is playing like he's like just a rookie and he's scoring like touchdowns every week. Stephon Diggs hasn't played too great this year, but I mean, he's still an elite receiver. The running backs have been decent, but there's nothing there for me to say that the Bills are can beat a lot of these. I mean, they beat the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs have been one of the most disappointing teams this year. And I still haven't gone to the Super Bowl, but still, I don't think any of these past results can tell me the Bills for 2 to 3 games can be good teams. Like, I'll go with the Chiefs, the Ravens, any of those teams in the AFC, the Chargers, the Titans can beat the Titans, but I don't think they'll beat the Ravens, Chargers, or Chiefs. I don't see them beating them 2 times.
Okay,
and then in the Super Bowl, they're gonna have to beat. Hold
on. Before you give your team,
okay.
Let me just tell the Homecourt fam that Alejandro tried to be slick with it. Alejandro mentioned the teams they played, right? He mentioned them. I get it. Not the hardest strength of schedule, but you only play who you play. It's your argument would hold. Your argument would be so elite. This would honestly be your best argument of your home court career if the Bills were barely winning these games. They are winning by 40, by 20. Their average point differential is 30 points a game. Do you know how ridiculous that is? It's like they're playing high schoolers out there. That's how they're treating them. They're treating them like you treat a high school team, like you treat the practice squad. That's how they're treating them. It's not that they're just beating them. And a lot of teams, good teams, play down to competition. They don't play down for anybody. They're saying, yeah, you're not better than us. We're 30 balling you.
Also, going back to the Chiefs game, there's a call that a lot of people aren't talking about because the final score was kind of 18. But right when the Chiefs were making it a game, the refs might have called one of the worst roughing the passer calls I've seen this year. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one basically in the end zone when it was third down and the Chiefs basically stopped them, or the Chiefs intercepted them actually. Dude, that was. I mean, if the refs basically gave them that game. If it wasn't for that call right there, the Chiefs would have the ball around midfield. Patrick Mahomes, they had plenty of time left to go score a touchdown, play more defense, and get the ball back. Chiefs had all the momentum there, and that call just ruined the game for the Chiefs right there. I mean, it's not a call a lot of people are talking about because the score is so one-sided. But that would have I think that would have changed it the whole momentum of the game right there. And the Chiefs defense was hooping right there. They stopped them. That was a very good series right there. Right before it was a really good defensive stand right before they called that penalty. Then after that, the Chiefs couldn't stop them. But yeah, I mean, I guess going back to the original question, who do I have? I don't have anybody in the AFC. I got a surprising team, honestly. Being from Houston, I got the boys winning the whole thing, being the best team in the NFL right now.
The Dallas Cowboys?
Yes, sir. The boys, America's team, with Dak leading the helm.
That's hilarious. That might be the most absurd pick in home court history as well. So you're just on a
You think so?
That's the most absurd pick I've ever in home court history. That is, there's 12 other teams you could pick.
Let me explain myself real quick then. I mean, I don't want to be sounding absurd. The Cowboys, I mean, there's always a lot of hype going with the Cowboys. Last year, obviously, was a very disappointing year. That was because Dak was injured and basically the whole team was injured. But Dak this year, he's been playing on an unreal level, MVP-ish level. We can talk about that later, but I mean, he's been playing like a top 3 quarterback in the league this year. Their running game, Zeke, Pollard's looking like he's an elite running back too. I mean, they've had a really balanced offensive approach this year, and their offensive line's been really, really good this year with Zach Martin leading the helm. And then I think their most surprising thing this year is their defense. Diggs might be defensive player of the year right now, actually.
He's special.
Yeah, he's special. I mean, I think he has 6 interceptions in 5 games or some crazy.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. I'll pick again. And 6 total.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. I mean, I think it's his second year in the league. He looks like the best cornerback in the league right now, honestly. I think just that having that balanced approach. If you look at most of the other good teams in the NFL, even looking at your Bills, looking at the Chiefs, looking at the just all the other top teams, I feel like out of all those top teams, the Cowboys have the best the combined running and passing game out of any of those teams. They have an elite running back in Zeke and an elite quarterback in Dak. And you also got to consider all the weapons on the outside. Their offense is wild. They have Amari, who outside of his first game hasn't played too crazy, but they have CD. He's really good too. They have Gallup. I think he's been injured recently. They have Cedric Wilson. Oh, both their tight ends have been playing. Dalton Schultz, Blake Jarwin, both of them hooping. I mean, the Cowboys. If you're a boys fan, if you're from Dallas, there's a lot of boys fans out in America. You have something to be excited about this year. I'm saying it right now. I got the boys winning the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the NFL right now.
That's utterly ridiculous. And let me tell you why. First of all, you brought up with my Bills argument who they played. Let's talk about who the Cowboys played. Played the Buccaneers, who you lost to, by the way. You played the Chargers. That's a good win, but the Chargers beat themselves in that game, considering Keenan Allen fell at the 1-yard line instead of just putting the ball in the end zone. where they had holding or they had offsides, and then they couldn't get the ball in the end zone. Then they had another pick in the end zone. You should have lost that game right there. You beat the Eagles. Congratulations. That should be a give me. You beat the Panthers without the best offensive player in the whole NFL, Christian McCaffrey. Congratulations.
What was the record at the time?
And yeah, they didn't have Christian McCaffrey.
Okay,
Yeah, they didn't have the best offensive player in the NFL.
An undefeated team. Embarrass them.
You beat the Giants, who, let me tell you who they didn't have. They didn't have Shepard to start the game, and they didn't have Slayton to start the game. In the game, they lose their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones. They lose star running back Saquon Barkley, and they lose their number one wide receiver.
And they blew them out.
On top of some offensive linemen they already didn't have. So you really haven't beaten anybody good except for the Chargers, who honestly, if you watch the game, you know the Chargers beat themselves. The Cowboys didn't do anything too special that game. That being said, you make some good points. The Cowboys.
Let me say something. If I've watched the game, if you watched when the Cowboys played the Bucs in Week 1, Godwin had an obvious offensive PI. If that was called, the Cowboys would have won that game. You could argue the same thing for the Cowboys beating the Bucs to the Super Bowl champs. The Cowboys could literally be undefeated right now. I thought that was a very offensive PI by Godwin on his long catch.
I don't know if you can call that right.
He pushed him off. I mean, it might be a tough call at that point of the time, but I mean, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot.
There, that's a tough call.
But the NFL is not like the NBA. You see at the end of game, like in the NBA, they usually don't call like if there's a foul at the last second or whatever. But in the NFL, you see if there's any type of penalty, they usually call it. And there was an offensive PI there.
No. I mean, the biggest thing with the Cowboys is, like you said, their offense is very good. You got the two-headed monsters. You got Zeke and Pollard, and then you got the outside weapons and Amari and all them, and Dak. But there's a stat that Skip Bayless from FS1 has been saying a lot. The legendary Skip Bayless, I might add, that the Cowboys they're either 26 or 20, I think 28-0 in Dak Prescott's career when they run the ball more than they pass the ball. Well, they're 28-0, and they haven't been Super Bowl teams or Super Bowl real contenders in Dak Prescott's time. What do you think that record is when Dak throws the ball more than they run? Not very good. So what's going to happen when they play a team that's going to force them to pass the ball and they're going to try to take Zeke and Pollard away? Probably not the best thing. Dak Prescott's a very good quarterback. He's a very good game manager, but he doesn't have that it factor where he can carry you to a win, where a lot of the other teams, they have players like Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, they got players like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Those quarterbacks can get you there when they have to. I'm not too sure that Dak Prescott is him. I don't think he's that guy, or at least he hasn't proven it to me yet. He's proven that he's very good in good situations and under good circumstances, but what happens when it all comes down? Secondary. Funny that I said secondary because the second thing I was going to say is about their secondary. Their secondary isn't too great. I understand that they have Diggs, who's an elite cornerback, best defensive player in the league right now, and that they got Michael Parsons at linebacker. That was a great pickup. But outside of those two players, their defense isn't too special, I don't believe. Outside of those two players, it's good for them that they got younger and that they got rid of some of the older players who they were paying too much money to, because I think that helps them like long term a lot better. But I mean, they still gave up 31 points to the Bucs. They still gave up 21 points to the Eagles. Panthers still scored 28. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't see them as shut down. I think they're a middle of the pack defensive team, and I think they're a top 8-ish offensive team.
There. Let me go off that real quick. The biggest problem for the Cowboys the past years, aside for like last year where they had their injury bug or whatever, has been their really bad defense. And with them being, we could say, do you agree they're average-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, last year they were historically bad. They were the worst defense ever last year. So, I mean, average is a lot better. You know what I mean?
I think they can win a Super Bowl with an average defense, and their defense is going to get better as the year goes on. And going back to one of your points that you mentioned earlier, where basically if like the other teams, like the better teams in the NFL, they're going to take away their run, and because they usually win, they always win the game when they run the ball more than they pass. We kind of saw that week 1 again. I mean, they lost that game. We saw week 1. It was a competitive game against. I mean, the Bucs are still arguably the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year, even though neither of us mentioned them. And we saw that it was the Bucs completely took Zeke out of that game, and Dak was still found a way to kind of be in it at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom Brady, he's just the GOAT. He managed a way to somehow win that game at the end. But still, we saw and just even going back to something else he said, Dak is a game manager. He'll figure out a way. I think he'll be able to manage the games to always be in a situation to win. He might not be the best player. He might not be Tom Brady. He might not have that if factor. But I think the Cowboys will always be in the game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, bring up the Bucs. That is my NFC team, so I got Bills and Bucs right now in the Super Bowl. But yeah, so bottom line, if the Bills and the Cowboys play,
one last question. Where do you see the boys going? Like, where do you think the Cowboys are going to go to? I think the Bills are going to lose in the AFC Championship to the Chiefs.
Cowboys win first round, or Cowboys get a wild card, or not wild card. I'm sorry, they win their division, they win the wild card game, and they lose the next game. They're not beating the Rams. They're not beating the Cardinals. So if they play the Rams or Cardinals actually in the wild card, they're losing either one of those games. They're not beating either of those games.
I don't think you can say that with confidence, though. I mean,
it's gonna be. I just said it with confidence. They're not beating the Bucs. They're not beating the Bucs.
It's not gonna be. You don't think it's gonna be a close game?
The Bucs?
Any of those teams. You can't say any of those teams with confidence. Yeah. The Bucs, the Rams, they're going to beat the Cowboys.
They are. They're going to beat the Cowboys. The Cardinals are going to beat the Cowboys if they play in the playoffs.
Okay.
Any of those three teams. The Packers will beat the Cowboys if they play in the playoffs.
I guess we'll see. I'll write that down real quick, though. I'll put it in my notes.
Write it down. If the Bills played the Cowboys, the Bills will win 41-28.
Actually, I'm taking this back. I got Browns and Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I don't even have the Bills going to the AFC Championship.
See what this man does?
You almost convinced me there for a second. I forgot. I still got the Browns and the Chiefs.
He changes his take because he realizes that my take is superior, so he has to make his look better by downgrading my team to make his team look better. If the Cowboys and Bills played right now, the final score would be 41-28. The Bills would win. Take that spread. The spread would probably be Bills -3. Take that to the bank. Cash out.
Bro, you're a funny guy. Yeah, man. Your take really convinced me that I brought them down. From losing the AFC Championship to the AFC.
No, you just knew that I was beating you in your take, so you had to resort to something. So you had to move my team down.
That was a cold take.
You had to move my team down to make
you really convinced me, big dog.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this video from Homecourt. If you like the content, please subscribe. Please click that bell for notifications and go check out one of our other videos from Homecourt. Once again, thank you so much for watching it and have a good rest of your day.